What I was doing was trying to figure out how to get my masters back, which was the key. And then the label became available first. It was more feasible. So I snatched the label up, and then I went after my masters, and then I went after the publishing. And then I went to him and said, I want to make you the COO of Death Row so we can handle this unfinished business and put you in a position where you can make moves and make this label grow like it should have grown and tie you back into something that you created.
During that time, when Mr. Shakur came home, we went down a little bit, but we were still going out there, but we didn't go as much.
And when you say when Mr. Shakur came home, at some point did Death Row sign Mr. Shakur to its record label?
It's debated how that happened, but
I'm not asking about the how. I'm just saying, did it happen?
Yes, sir. I believe he came home October the 12th of 1995.
Now, as security for Death Row, were you aware that Mr. Shakur was actually out on a bond, an appeals bond from prison from New York?
Yes, sir.
And I believe the allegation has something to do with sexual misconduct. Is that right?
Yeah.
If you don't know.
I mean, something like that. I wouldn't call it that, but yes.
Okay, whatever it was, there was some kind of issue. Mr. Shakur is in prison in New York, and then Death Row Records posts an appellate bond for Mr. Shakur.
Yeah, I'm with some other companies, but yes, sir.
Okay. And then Mr. Shakur does he move to where Death Row is, or does he stay in the New York area, or where does he go?
No, I remember, I picked him up from the airport, me and one of my security guys named Kevin Hackey, and we took him immediately. We went to Monty's restaurant and ate. Then we went to the recording studio that night, and from that point on, we got him into a room, took him to the Peninsula Hotel, where he stayed for, I believe, a month or two. Then he got a spot on Wilshire, and later on a house in Calabasas.
As the head of Right Way Security, which was contracted by Death Row Records, were you responsible for Tupac Shakur's security?
Yes, sir.
How did you handle Tupac Shakur's security?
Well, I had two guys that were primarily always assigned to him. One guy was a guy by the name of Kevin Hackey, who was with him a lot at the beginning. Later on, towards the end, a gentleman by the name of Frank Alexander was the one that worked with him as well. And then I will always have additional guys, like Al Giddings, as one of them fill in for him when those guys wasn't available. But generally always had one security guard with him. After this particular song came out, in about May or June, we upped it to 2 security officers.
Now, you mentioned a particular song came out that changed how you handled Tupac Shakur's security. What song are you talking about?
It was a song called Hit 'Em Up.
And is it fair to say that in that song, Tupac is aggressively expressing his dislike for the members of Bad Boy Entertainment as well as other artists?
That's fair to say.
And as a result of that, you decided to change security for Tupac or increase it?
Well, I was a part of the discussion and ultimately had to prove it, but I'm sure Mr. Knight, and possibly Mr. Shakur, and maybe the security officer that was primarily with them, we all agreed that he probably needed another guy with him.
Were you aware during this time of a gang from Compton being used by Bad Boy Entertainment when they came to the West Coast?
We had heard those rumors and we were familiar.
And what gang was that?
Compton Southside Crips.
Now, the Southside Crips, that was the same gang that you had told us earlier that Mr. Davis belonged to. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And by Mr. Davis, I mean Keefe D.
That's what I believe he is, yes.
Yeah. And then, was there ever a time where Death Row and you and whatever other unofficial security Death Row had had a clash with Bad Boy and the Southside Compton Crips at all?
Yes, we had it at a Soul Train Music Awards. I previously stated that Mr. Davis was with him, and I even think I may have even said that he was one of the ones close to the guy with the gun. Never said he was the one with the gun, but there's been out there, social media, where a gentleman has came out and admitted that he was the one that actually had the gun that particular incident by the name of C. Gutter.
So do you remember, well, I'm going to ask you what your independent recollection is. Tell us about that incident. So we're at the Soul Train, what is it, the Soul Train Music Awards?
Soul Train Music Awards, yes.
And approximately what timeline are we looking at?
April, May of 95.
Of 95?
Sorry, 96.
Okay, of 96.
I'm sorry.
And you had mentioned before the song Hit 'Em Up. Was this before or after the song Hit 'Em Up?
That was before Hit 'Em Up.
Okay, that was before Hit 'Em Up. Okay, tell us what happened at the Soul Train Music Awards.
We pulled in. Originally, we had an entourage of about 50 people with us, but they only allowed two cars of us to get back in the back parking lot, because that's where they had all the setup and the motorhomes and stuff like that. So we drove in the back, Mr. Knight, Mr. Shakur, and a few of the outlaws was inside of a Hummer, and myself as Frank, which was Tupac's security that night, Mr. Shakur's security that night. We drove in behind them. As we was getting out of the vehicle, or getting ready to park, Mr. Shakur saw Christopher Wallace and Puffy and a group of people, a few guys that I recognized from the South Side, in that entourage. As they were, Mr. Shakur immediately became enraged and started yelling, and confrontation between Mr. Small, Biggie, and Mr. Shakur took place, to the point where one of their guys brandished a weapon. And then that's when I pulled my firearm and towards him and begged with him, pleaded with him not to raise the gun. There was some security from the Nation of Islam there. They got in the middle of it, broke us up. The gentlemen took off and ran towards the street in the parking lot.
I'm sorry, who ran towards the street?
The gentleman with the gun and a couple of the people that was with him took off and ran.
Now, you said that Southside was providing that type of backup.
They were with them in entourage, yes, sir.
Do you recall whether Dwayne Davis was one of those people?
I believe he was. I know he was with them, but like I said, I don't believe he was the one with the gun.
All right, let's fast forward to September 7th, 1996, or that weekend. When do you come to Las Vegas for that weekend?
I came out that Friday. I believe that was the 6th. Okay. So I came out that Friday. So we had a nightclub that was in the process of being open. And out here, I guess, there's some type of cars that everyone that work around people that's having alcohol, I think they were called town cars or something like that at the time. I had to get all my security guards to have those particular cars for that night, because the attorney that was assisting us in getting the club open said, hey, y'all got to be really on y'all P's. We got to have everything on point, because if everything goes smoothly tonight, there's a good chance we're going to be able to get the permits transferred from the previous owners to Mr. Knight's name.
Okay, so I want to stop you there.
Okay.
First, you're talking about you got advice from an attorney. Do you remember who that attorney was?
Yes, sir.
Who was that attorney?
George Calise.
Okay. And then when you got the advice from the attorney was generally telling you got to be on your P's and Q's, so to speak?
Yes.
When you're talking about being on your P's and Q's so that the club can be transferred to Suge Knight, was Club 662 at that time in Mr. Knight's name?
No, it was perceived that it was. People believed it, even because of the name change. Excuse me. But it hasn't officially been the paperwork hadn't officially or never was completed. It was never done.
Now, you talk about the name change. Explain to us a little bit about the name change.
Well, we had a sign and all of that called Club 662.
Explain to us what 662 means.
662 on the keyboard of your phone, it will spell out the word MOB, which means Members of the Bloods.
Well, nobody has keyboards on their phones anymore.
I forgot about that.
And so the club itself, the name of the club itself rang out that it was a blood-affiliated club.
That's correct.
Now, what advice did Mr. Kalisis give you regarding being on your P's and Q's for that night in order for Suge Knight to be able to obtain approval for running that club?
So he advised, and the main thing that came out of that meeting was he advised all of my security guards, even though that they were authorized to carry guns, being off-duty police officers and stuff, that we shouldn't have guns on our possession inside of the club on that night.
So your understanding was, or at least the advice that you got was, inside Club 662, if you're working it for right-way security,
Correct.
you're not carrying a gun.
Yes, sir.
Did you communicate that to the people working for you?
So we had a meeting in Mr. Khalif's office. He said it. Mr. Khalif said it. My guys probably wouldn't have did anything if I didn't echo it. Today I can't say I echoed it and agreed to it, but I'm sure I did.
So you're saying is you don't have an independent recollection, but you think you probably did echo Mr. Kalis's advice?
Yes, sir.
And when was this meeting?
That Friday after they had all came from the town cars meeting, because I took them all to Fridays, and we went and ate at Fridays after that meeting. So it was that Friday.
Okay. And then so the process was with your folks, people working with you, was that they had to get their TAM cards or whatever temporary work cards required to do the work that you needed them to do in 662. Then have a meeting with the attorney. The attorney tells them, hey, we're trying to get this club transferred to Suge's name. Let's keep it clean and don't carry a firearm.
That's correct.
Did you do anything else that night, Friday at all relevant to the events that occurred on September 7th, 1996?
The club actually opened on Fridays and Saturdays, but for some reason we didn't get a big attendance on Friday nights. But Saturday night, it was a different night.
So you knew that that night, September 7th, 1996, was the night that Mike Tyson was fighting Bruce Sullivan. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And was that part of the reason why you guys were going to have the club open because of that fight?
That was the only time the club, under Mr. Knight, the Club 662 banner, we only did that about 3 times. And that would have been the 4th time. And so we only opened those 4 times, the Friday and the Saturday. And then we did it one more time where Mr. Shakur and Snoop Dogg did a St. Ives commercial, which was just a promotional private video shoot for a commercial.
Now, who was in charge of the security for Club 662 that night?
Well, ultimately I am, but I had a on-site supervisor by the name of Al Giddens. He was actually who I consider in charge of the club, but ultimately as the owner I was.
And then we heard from James McDonald. He's suggested that he had a role in security as well, maybe different than your role in security. Were you aware of James McDonald being there at the club?
Yeah, James was a headache for my security. They hated him. But he and I, we've been knowing each other over 52 years, So, that was like my brother. So, James used to do it as a hustle. What James would do is go outside, get guys that looked like they had a bunch of money, and bring them to the front of the line. And that drove my security crazy, but James was just out there working the door. Suge would have a bunch of his homeboys to come and be on the lookout, still, blood related, Paru related, to be around. But James was mainly doing a little side hustle.
Now, in terms of as the person in charge, or the person contracted to be in charge of Death Row Security, were you aware that Tupac Shakur was going to come to the fight on September 7th, 1996?
Definitely the plan. That was definitely the plan, and there was a reason that I knew he had to come, but that was definitely the plan.
Okay, well, tell us the reason why he had to come.
So we, Mr. Khalees, who he had something worked out, because that's why we had off-duty police officers. I don't know if they were off-duty; they were in uniform, so I don't know if they was working off-duty or they were on duty. But we had my guys were responsible from the door inside, where the police officers were responsible for the door and the street traffic control and the parking lot. And so I guess how he got that approved was
well, if you're guessing,
okay.
I don't want you to guess. Were you the person responsible for whatever event control or traffic control that the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department did?
No, sir.
Were you the point of contact?
I was the point of contact for the club, yes.
Yeah, but you were the point of contact for the club. And then the person, is it fair to say that the person dealing with whatever traffic control or event control or population control, whatever it was that the attorney, George Clasons?
He was the one that got them there,
Okay.
made the call to get them there.
Okay, so you weren't the one that called Metro?
No, sir.
So anything that you would have said regarding that is just kind of you trying to put the dots together, assuming what that conversation might have been.
And the only reason I say that because I knew we promoted it as a benefit for a retired boxer, for a police or retired. He was a retired police officer that was promoting or had something to do with boxing for youth or something like that.
So that kind of got his adding to the P's and Q's that made Mr. Knight look better when the transfer of when they're trying to transfer this club. Hey, we're also holding a benefit.
That and also Mr. Shakur was trying to work off some community service hours that he needed. I don't know how they made it happen in LA County.
And so Mr. Shakur was scheduled to perform that night at Club 662, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And so you're telling us that it was your understanding that Mr. Shakur performing at Club 662 at this benefit would help him accumulate hours for community service.
Yes, sir.
So when was Tupac Shakur supposed to come to Las Vegas?
Well, they always came up on that Saturday. I know that they arrived about 4 p.m. on that Saturday, but if they were scheduled to come out earlier or not, I'm not sure.
And then at some point, who's the security for Tupac that Saturday?
Mr. Alexander, but he was out there with me, getting the town cars and everything. Mr. Shakur actually rode up with, I guess, his fiance and a few members of the Outlaws.
And who are the Outlaws?
The Outlaws is a bunch of people actually, but it's a group of rappers that works with Mr. Shakur that he was trying to help get their careers going.
And was Malcolm Greenidge one of the members of the Outlaws?
Yes, sir.
And I think he goes by the name Edie Amin.
That's correct, sir.
And Atari Cox, was he one of the members of the Outlaws?
Yes, sir.
And then Afula, and I always get the name wrong, but Mr. Afula, was he also one of the members of the Outlaws?
He was as well.
Okay. And you said Mr. Alexander was the person that's supposed to be working security, or the person assigned for security for Mr. Shakur, but that he was with you. So on Saturday, was anybody with Mr. Shakur?
No, sir.
And you had mentioned earlier that after the song "Hit 'Em Up" had come out, and that was probably 3-4 months before this, you had assigned 2 security officers to Mr. Shakur.
That's correct.
So where's the other one?
Well, that was Mr. Hackey, Kevin Hackey. He was scheduled to also be attending and writing, and that's who I actually thought was going to be with him, coming up with him, because he normally was with him. You know, him and Mr. Alexander, they kind of worked out who would be with Mr. Shakur. And for some reason, he didn't show up. He now telling me he had a late arrest, and he was stuck at the hospital all day dealing with an arrest.
So the fight night arrives. Where are you? Do you go to the fight?
I went to the parking lot of the fight, saw it was kind of hectic to get inside, but also got a call from Mr. Giddings, Al Giddings, who was my supervisor at the club, and they was having some logistic problems, some problems there, and I elected to go and get things in order at the club.
So you get to the parking lot of MGM, see it's a little crazy, and decide to head over to Club 662.
That's correct.
And was Club 662, it was on Flamingo, is that right?
1700 block of Flamingo, yes, sir.
Okay. Actually, can I see Exhibit 2? I'm going to publish Exhibit 2, which has already been admitted. All right, actually, Mr. Wright, you're not in a position great for any of this, but there we have, can you see the 662 up there?
I don't have my glasses.
No worries.
I'm sorry.
I got you. Permission to approach, Your Honor? Your Honor, permission to approach?
Oh, yeah. I was about to pull them freely.
Thank you. You see clubs, there's a red 662 club on this map. You see it?
Yes, sir.
Is that accurately representing where Club 662 was?
Yes, sir.
So you leave the Las Vegas Strip and head over to Club 662.
That's correct, sir.
Did you handle the logistical issues at Club 662?
Well, I guess. I'm sure we got worked out. Yes, sir.
And then, was Club 662, did you stay at Club 662 or did you head back to the Strip that night?
No, I stayed there the whole time until I was contacted by some other individuals.
Okay, so we'll start, before we get there, how was 662 super busy that night or was it kind of less crowded?
The clubs generally didn't start getting crowded until about 11 p.m. I think we were there like 8:30. So it eventually got there, but I wouldn't call it super crowded at that point.
And then you said you were there and then you, something changed. Well, we all know that on September 7th, 1996, Tupac Shakur was shot and Mr. Knight was at least grazed in the head by a bullet. Did you find out about that?
Yes, sir.
How did you find out about that?
Two gentlemen, Buntry, true name was Alton McDonald, and a gentleman by the name of Neckbone. Well, his true name is Roger Williams, but his moniker is Neckbone. They came inside the club and came straight to me. It was like, Reggie, Suge and Pop just got shot down the street. I thought they were messing with me because they like, where Reggie at, because I wasn't there with him. But then Mr. Khaleesi, who was standing near me, I guess he talked to some of the officers that was working out front, and he kind of verified to me that something happened. And then by that time, I see about 4 or 5 other units that were working at the club. They started taking out, heading that way.
Mentioned two people, Buntry, Alton McDonald. Does Buntry have any relation to James McDonald, the person that testified before you?
That's his little brother. Yes, sir.
And then you mentioned Neckbone, Roger Williams. Were these people employed by Right-Way Security?
No, sir.
Were they part of Mob Pyro?
Yes, sir.
Is it fair to say, as we talked about earlier, that Suge would have members of Mob Pyro around?
Correct.
And while they weren't official security, would you say they provided a different form of security?
That would be a fair, yes, that's correct.
So upon hearing the fact that, well, at that time when Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur were headed to Club 662, were you aware of their movements? Were you aware that they were headed over to the club at that point?
Not at that point. I hadn't heard anything. Frank hadn't communicated anything with me, and I just knew they would eventually get there. But no, I didn't know any movement where they were at or when they were coming towards our way.
Oh, you had said Frank hadn't told you anything. At this point, had Frank met up with Tupac?
Oh, I'm sorry. Frank was with Mr. Shakur since about 4 p.m. on that day, 4 to 5 p.m. on Saturday. He was with him all that day.
So he didn't drive out with Mr. Shakur, but he eventually met up with Mr. Shakur.
That's correct. Him and another gentleman who initially was with him by the name of Michael Moore.
And was Mr. Moore also a member of security?
He worked for Right Way as well.
Okay. And so then you have Mr. Shakur and Mr. Knight headed to Club 662. To your knowledge, were there other people headed over? I guess we already heard about Neckbone and Buntree. Were there other people headed over to Club 662 with Mr. Knight and Mr. Shakur? On driving over, was there more than one car, or were there a number of cars driving over to Club 662?
And I can only speak on what I know now.
Yeah. Okay, well, no, back then, did you know?
I just know who normally with them.
So after Buntree and Neckbone tell you that Mr. Shakur and Mr. Knight had been shot, and you seem to get some confirmation from the attorney, what do you do?
Me and Mr. Khalees and Michael Moore, who was with Mr. Shakur earlier, who got, his primary job was to work at the club. He and I jumped in the car with Mr. Khalees and headed towards the scene where we were told Mr. Shakur and Mr. Knight was. However, en route, Mr. Khalees was on the phone and we were notified that they were headed to UMC.
So did you go to UMC then?
That's correct.
Now, taking a step back, did you see the car that Buntree and Neckbone arrived to Club 662 in?
Eventually, yes, sir.
And did you notice anything notable about that car?
Yes, Mr. Buntree, he had a Toyota Supra that was black, and he had one bullet hole to the driver's side fender.
Now, let's go back to, you're on your way back to, or you're on your way over to UMC. What happens at UMC?
Get there. Of course, Mr. Knight and Mr. Shakur was in the emergency room. I didn't get to see Mr. Knight until about 3 hours later. I saw him, but there was a lot of people gathering. I guess people heard what happened from the club. They started gathering there, and people were just starting to gather, and in the parking lot outside of the hospital.
Was Mr. Knight held at UMC for a long time, or like for weeks, or what happened with Mr. Knight?
No, Mr. Knight was released. I left prior. I don't know why I left. I left prior to him getting released about 4 or 5 that morning. But I know I was back at his house. So I went and got his home secured. And I know I was back at his house about 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. that morning. I was with him all that day.
After all this, or sometime during this, do you make contact with your father?
Yes, sir.
How do you do that?
My phone. I called him a couple of times throughout that night. Told him what had just happened to Suge and Mr. Shakur. It's kind of stressful for me. Called him a few times that night.
How are you calling him?
By cell phone.
Oh, you had a cell phone at the time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was there anything that you felt you had to relate to him in order to let him know what might be happening the next day?
Well, during that night, or that early morning, I was getting information from people in the parking lot and around that, hey, they got into it at the MGM with some guys from Southside Compton Clubs. And so I relayed that to him. They didn't know who the people were, just that they got into it with some guys from Southside. And I told them, hey, it's going to be trouble back in Compton.
When did you go back to Compton? When did you go back to California?
Yeah. About 2 weeks later.
So you were in town while Mr. Shakur was at the hospital?
The whole time he was at the hospital, and that following week as well.
What was your role while Mr. Shakur was in the hospital?
I had 2 guys assigned outside his door the whole time he was fighting for his life. And they were there just we had a picture of him while he was lying, fighting for his life. And we were just trying to keep people out. Of course, Miss Shakur, his mother, was in charge, but just mainly trying to keep people out that she didn't want in or got her permission to come in to see Mr. Shakur while he's fighting for his life.
And then you had said after Mr. Shakur had passed, you stayed in Vegas for another week.
That's correct.
Why is that?
Well, I'm the one that actually received his ashes and had one of my security guys by the name of James Green fly back with the ashes and eventually delivered them to someone in the family. I believe it was the mother, but if it wasn't her, it was somebody that she authorized to receive the ashes.
But you weren't the person that delivered the ashes.
James Green was.
You received the ashes
Yes.
and then gave it
To James. Yeah.
You know, I want to ask you this just straight. Did you have anything to do with the murder of Tupac Shakur?
Absolutely not.
Orlando Anderson, the revolutionary.
As a result of the beating of Orlando Anderson at the MGM Grand, were there any legal proceedings that involved Mr. Knight?
Yes, sir.
Is it fair to say that Mr. Knight was on probation at the time of the beating at the MGM Grand?
He was.
Actually, can we show 115? Actually, I don't even know that Mr. Wright can see.
We can take the computer up to him. I just have to open it. It'll go off the screen though if I take it off here. You want to do it on your computer so we can see it up close, and I'll play it for the jury. I assume you want. Yes. You want the fight one, right?
See how they just did Keefy D. Now we know for a fact that Reggie Wright was one of the main ones who told everybody to leave their weapons in the car. Do not bring the weapons in the fight, or don't bring the weapons nowhere around. And these was armed security guards who wouldn't go nowhere without their piece on them. I want to let everybody know it's sad that they did this to Tupac, but Reggie Wright, he was quote unquote the person who set it all up. He was the one who actually told Keefy D now, there go Tupac right there, he leaving. They said Reggie Wright was the one who made the phone call, let them know that Tupac and Suge Knight just left out the venue. This sad, man, but you heard everything Reggie Wright just said. We all think that Reggie Wright, he innocent in all this, but Reggie Wright, they said that he played a part in Biggie and Tupac case. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you're a fan of Keefy D. Let me know if you're a fan of Tupac. Like, at this point, they about to come get Diddy. It's gonna be over with for Diddy. And I know a lot of people, they looking at the trial like, well, we wasn't even born around that time, or that was a long time ago. For the people who actually was around listening to Tupac. See, I was a fan of Tupac. Tupac was one of my favorite artists, despite everybody else who was out around that time. Everybody know exactly what went down, but Diddy, he paid the money, and now they bringing it back up. I keep telling y'all for the last 2 years, I said that they gonna eventually come get Diddy right when he about to get out. And you see how they just started this trial, and Diddy's supposed to get out next year.